Good morning and possibly good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brian Dar, and I am a business process consultant here at XPM. And you are here, hopefully, to join our Introduction to Portfolio Management with Atlassian webinar. Today, we are going to talk about Jira Align, advanced roadmaps, and a few other Atlassian ecosystem portfolio management tools. Really quick, a little bit about myself. As I said, I do business process consulting here for XPM. I'm also a SAFe program consultant, and I hold a number of Atlassian certifications. All that is to say that hopefully to engender some confidence in you, that I can hopefully share some good information with you. If you have any questions, of course, please feel free to email me, or you can stalk me on LinkedIn through that QR code. All right, so what are we going to do today? Well, first, we are going to talk about the portfolio management ecosystem with Atlassian tools. After that, I'm going to dive into Jira Align and then also advanced roadmaps. We'll be doing some live demos of each tool, and then we'll have time for questions at the end. I'm also joined today by Heather Insalaco, one of our project coordinators, and she will be manning the Q&A function in Zoom. So if you have any questions, please feel free to type them into the Q&A. I'm going to try to not look at them in real time because otherwise it'll really distract me. So instead, yeah, please feel free to type your questions in there, and we will get to them at the end. And of course, please always feel free to email us. All right, so let's talk about project management and portfolio management in Jira. Jira is a tool mostly to manage team activities, but when you add portfolio management things on top of it, you can start rolling up work up to enterprise strategy. So a lot of the problems that we're trying to solve with this are that stakeholders tend to lack real-time visibility into project progress within Jira itself. This results in increased meetings due to progress reviews. It results in missed dependencies. It results in delays in value delivery. Another problem that we also often encounter is that team members often have little or no visibility into their dependencies with other projects. This results in more meetings to receive project updates. It results in unknown changes in a dependent plan. It results in fire drills and missed dependencies. Nobody likes that. Poor portfolio management also results in lots of wait time, lots of lead time, and other project metrics really start to decline. This results in operational inefficiencies, unmanageable resource dependencies. So what we're trying to do is to enable our team members to be more self-sufficient with the tools that we're going to talk about today, so that we can all spend less time in meetings, deliver more value, and deliver higher quality. So with that said, what can we do with portfolio management in Jira? Well, we can do project management. So if you're not a fully agile shop, the tools that we're showing today can be used to manage more, I guess, quote unquote, waterfall or traditional project management. It's not quite Microsoft Project, but I think you'll see that once you can tie your plans to the team's work, it'll be very effective regardless. You can also handle repetitive tasks. We can handle program management within Jira, human resource. We can handle team level capacity planning, and there are also tools to let us do individual level capacity planning, release planning, managing scaled agile, managing corporate initiatives, and helping manage M&A activities as well. That's a lot. I think there's a reason that these tools are so popular. So the two primary portfolio management solutions within the Atlassian ecosystem are Jira Align and Advanced Roadmaps, which used to be known as Portfolio for Jira. Advanced Roadmaps is available in Cloud Premium and Enterprise if you're using the Atlassian Cloud Suite. It is not available in Free or Standard. It is also available currently as an add-on to Server and Data Center. As we all know, Server is eventually going away. They will stop selling new Server licenses at the beginning of next month. And eventually people will need to move to cloud or data center. Eventually, advanced roadmaps will be rolled into a bundled feature set with data center, along with things like team calendars. So eventually it won't be an add-on for either product, but really just baked in. Jira Align, on the other hand, remains a separate standalone product. There are some other tools as well out there in the ecosystem. One is Structure and Structure Gantt. If you like traditional project management more, Structure is a great tool. Their Gantt chart is also very effective. Big Picture is also another very strong competitor as well, especially since they resolved a sandbox issue with their tool. So Big Picture allows for things like individual capacity management. It also allows for program board management if you're doing some kind of scaled agile framework and working at the team of teams level, doing quarterly planning. It also has some risk management features as well. Some other ones such as WBS Gantt chart for Jira is also quite good. We have a lot of clients that enjoy that. Tempo is kind of a different set of tools, but it sort of rolls into this management because if you're doing cost structuring, cost tracing, Tempo can be quite helpful for that. Although we will see that Jira Align also manages cost like CapEx and OpEx quite well. And then, of course, there's the whole Microsoft suite that we have also built integrations to, Jira and Microsoft Project, for example. So there's a lot of them out there. Today, though, we're going to focus on Jira Align and Advanced Roadmaps, which are Atlassian's native or recently purchased portfolio management solutions. So Jira Align is a separate product from Jira, and it sits outside of, and I guess you'd say on top of Jira. And it is intended to fully synchronize people, work, and time. In fact, those are the three hierarchies that Jira Align functions on. It is a cross-team, cross-functional, collaborative tool. Just like Jira and most of Jira's tools, it provides real-time analysis, and it also serves as a single source of truth for what's going on in your programs and in your portfolios, and possibly in your strategy realm as well. Specifically, it is intended to combine your strategic portfolio, your product management, and your scale development into one tool. And then it bidirectionally syncs at certain elements down with Jira. Specifically, it synchronizes at the Epic level in Jira, and then everything above Epic resides solely in Jira Align. This allows your developers to stay in Jira and your product owners and Scrum Masters to swivel chair between the two, and then everybody above product owners and Scrum Masters will stay up in Jira Align. Also over here, we see this team-based hierarchy here. Again, the team stays down in Jira, and then starting at the program layer through the optional solution layer, because not every company needs that. Quite frankly, unless you're building airplane fuselages, you probably don't need it. Up to the portfolio layer, which is where the budgeting happens, and then up to the enterprise layer, which is where the long-term strategy ties in. So Jira Align's positioning is a product for people doing some kind of scaled agile framework. In fact, they won't sell it to you unless you are doing some kind of scaled work and have been doing so successfully for at least one program increment or quarter. It is a large-scale enterprise-focused tool. Its pricing and its abilities reflect that. And it ties the CEO strategy all the way down through the team members. And lastly, it is a full application. It was actually originally a competitor to Jira. And once Jira bought them, so they had a team layer down there to handle team level activities. Now Jira is coming in as the team layer, and anyway, the rest of the full application still exists on top of it. And you can see here in this strategy triangle here, we have the three hierarchies here. We have a time hierarchy over here. We have a goal hierarchy over here, and then we have a work hierarchy here, or I guess a people hierarchy here in the middle. Some of its key features that the people find most useful. One is it does dependency management very well. Dependencies in Jira Align are a conversation, not just a linking of issues. So the requesting team has to get a commitment from the requested team, and then once the requested team completes the work, it's now complete. So it's actually a three-step workflow to handle dependencies, much like you would in real life, or at least how you should handle dependencies in real life. Also is the program board. So if you're used to that, stickies on a whiteboard during your program increment planning, or in all the yarn that you tie up there, they have digitized that. Obviously, extremely useful in 2020 and beyond. They also have road mapping functionality at all layers. There's a strategy room where you can track progress against corporate strategy. There's a program room where everybody in the program can get together to view the architectural runway, current and future sprints across all the teams, feature progress, risk management. Am I forgetting the word? PI goals, PI objectives. Sorry, you can track objectives in that room. So it's basically like a virtual meeting room to remember everything that the program has to do. And there's an equivalent up at the portfolio layer as well. Also, somewhat recently, Jira Align also added OKR functionality. So you can tie objectives to any work item in the hierarchy. And then you can also tie key results to those objectives and then track them in Jira Align over time. New things and coming. They have somewhat recently retooled their strategy room. Obviously, this is an actively developed product, so they're always coming out with new features. They have a recently redone connector to Jira. So if you used Jira Align in the past, the connector has been improved. It's been made more efficient and also easier to manage. There's also a Trello integration as well. So looking at incorporating more and more of the business teams. So this product obviously wants to marry IT and the business, and a lot of business teams still work in Trello, which is totally fine. So there's a Trello connector to bring in Trello information as well. OKRs, as I mentioned, and also they are continually baking things like AI into the tool. I believe mostly to help people navigate it better, because it's such a massive tool that when users first get in, a lot of times we find that we need to give a lot of user-based training when we help clients roll this out, because there are just so many options. Like, in addition to administrative training and knowing what to turn on and off in the tool, helping users figure out what reports they're looking for and how to get the features out of it that they need to get. To implement Jira Align, let's talk about that for a moment. This is a big tool and it takes a big effort to implement. So typically, I mean, in a different world, we would go on site for 4 to 6 weeks off and on. We would go through a phase of planning, discovery, and initial configuration. We then help you through your first iteration or PI, not iteration, PI. And then it also involves training for your admins, for your end users, and then finally validation, and then hopefully ongoing support if you need it. I say hopefully because, well, I'm really not hopefully. Hopefully you've gotten everything you need, but if you need ongoing support, and we find that a lot of clients do, it's helpful to have somebody to phone to ask, how do I get this report to work for me? A full rollout takes about 2 PIs or about 6 months before we see people just running along totally smoothly. Obviously, really after 1 PI, things are usually okay, but then getting the kinks out takes a while longer as people ramp up to it. So let's go ahead and hop into the tool and talk about all these, or at least show what these things look like that I've just been talking about. So we're going to hop into Jira Align. I'm going to refresh because it probably logged me out already. Come on, internet. Oh man, this is the danger of live demos. All right, so here we are in Jira Align, and what we see going on here on the left side is this navigation bar, and then over up top we have what's called the context bar. And the navigation bar takes me through different layers. I can star different sections of the tool. And then starting here, we see up top the enterprise strategy layer. Below that, we hit the portfolio budgetary layer. Then we hit, optionally in between those is the solution layer. We have it turned off in this demo instance. Then we have the program or the team of teams layer. Then the teams layer, which if you're using Jira, you don't actually need the team layer at all. And then there's optionally not a layer, but this orthogonal slice of a product. You can tag features which are Jira epics, safe features. You can tag those with a product, and then you can track product progress and product road mapping in this orthogonal area as well. And then there's also custom rooms and reports, and if you're an administrator, there's some administrative settings here. There are hundreds of reports in this tool, so that might actually be a little overwhelming if you first land in the report section. Man, And I may not click through all these just because it's going to take so long. But anyway, you can see there is a bunch of reports, and there's some nice AI where you can ask questions in this bar, and it'll spit out the right report for you. But I'm going to start up here at the enterprise layer, and from here I'm going to hop into the strategy room. So strategy is not one strategy doesn't last forever, I should say. It's not perpetual. So to do that, we have strategic snapshots that tie goals and goals into a certain strategic time frame. 2020 obviously shows that because everybody's roadmap from January was totally obliterated in March. So here in the strategy room, we see the overall corporate strategy pyramid. So we have entered in mission, vision, and values, and then those tie down to optional North Stars. Those tie down to long-term goals, strategies, and down to yearly goals. These layers are optional, by the way, so you don't have to get that granular in your strategy if you don't want to. Yearly goals pair up with strategic themes, and then those break down into epics, or I should say portfolio epics, or initiatives, some people call them, basically the things that you do within 3 months to 1 year, and then down into features, which are managed within 3 months. And then you can tie objectives to your epics, and you can tie program objectives to your features. So again, all the strategy is rolled together into one place. And then over here, we see execution against that strategy. How many of our strategic themes are complete or being worked on? How are our epics doing? How are our features doing? And then down here we have OKR heat maps. Not a lot of data in here to show off, but basically you can see your key results tied to the different objective layers, and then you can see how you're doing on those. So OKRs, if you've read John Doerr's book, they're basically SMART goals, and they are measurable objectives, which allows us to get percent scores against them as well. And then down here we have a whole OKR tree. So we can zoom out and see how our objectives are nesting, how they're being accomplished, and then we have key results progress over here. So this is up at the corporate layer. There's also a backlog at every layer. So there's a strategic backlog, there's a portfolio backlog, a program backlog, and then team backlogs down in Jira. And you can hop through those in this strategic backlog button here. Let me hop down a layer. Let's see, actually, I'm going to skip 2 layers. I'm going to hop all the way down to the program layer, and I'm going to hop into the program room. We're going to come back to the portfolio layer in a minute. Well, while that's loading, I'm going to talk about the context bar up here. So what we see is this program and this program increment. And when we're looking at various areas of Jira Align, we can narrow our focus down to the portfolio, the program, or the team that we're focused on. Then we can also further narrow that down by program increment. So most of the things that we see from here on out are being filtered by this context bar up here. All right, so here I am in the program room. So this is the team of teams gathering point to see what's going on. And I've got a series of checklists here for PI preparation. I need to plan my backlog, plan and monitor the PI, track progress, optimize work in process. And this takes me to the different areas of the program or of the software that will help me do those things. The rest of this room is covered with actions. You see, we just have fake text here. Our dependencies, which I talked about earlier, but let me just open one of those up. So this is that 3-step dependency process: committed. I'm sorry, not committed, committed, and then complete. And then we have all this information being requested here, such as what program increment will it be worked on, what feature does it relate to, who's requesting it, who needs to work on it. And then we also have, if we dive in, we'll see when it's requested by, which sprint it has to be completed by, and then information. And this of course is blocked, so that flags that as well for us. We also see different impediments if those are listed. We see our program objectives, We have a lot of those here. And then way down at the bottom, well, we have other things too. How are our fixed versions / release vehicles doing? And then how are our risks doing? So we have our appropriately roamed risks being tracked here. We have load versus capacity. A lot of information here in this room. And then we also have, obviously, right in the middle, our runway. Do we have enough work going forward? How are our sprints progressing? And then what are the features being worked on currently in this PI up here? That's all just in the program room. If we hop over to the program board, which is another favorite place of mine, the program board shows down the left side all of our teams. And then horizontally, we are tracking across sprints. And there's a nice robust legend up here explaining what's going on all of these. But I'll just point out some of the highlights. We have our different objectives listed up here and when those objectives are intended to be delivered by. We have all of our features as they are being completed here. Green means done, and then check means accepted. We then have dependencies, which are those little odd looking widgets. I'm not sure what those are called. These are shown in the requesting and dependent teams, so we can track those. So basically, we can get a bird's eye view as we are constantly managing our program increment of how our teams are doing and how they're executing against delivery. All right, let's see. Let's hop down to program again, and let's go look at the roadmap next. Again, this is just kind of a whirlwind of features here. There's a lot more to cover. And typically when we set this up for clients, obviously, like I said, there's a lot of training that happens for this. So here in the roadmap view, we're looking at feature by, I believe, epic. And I can see my epic and I can break those down into features. We have progress bars filling up here. We have milestones being tracked on this roadmap. And then we can switch around to, we can view it in a calendar view instead, because not everybody, not all of your stakeholders look at it according to program increments. And we can also track at different layers. So if we want to track our strategic themes or epics or features, all of those layers are trackable and displayable in this roadmap. We can then create a detached instance of the roadmap and then send people to go look at that detached frozen roadmap. And then share that out if we need to for our reporting purposes. Let me make sure I'm covering everything I wanted to cover here. We talked about dependencies. Yeah, if we hop back up to the portfolio layer for a moment, let's just hop into the portfolio backlog so we can see part of the backlog. So here we have our epics specifically for this PI. A lot of information being displayed here. We can also stack rank our work here. The epics break down into features as they expand out. Some stuff we can do here. We can do rapid estimation of our work here, depending on the way that we've chosen to estimate our portfolio epics. We can have business value, time value, basically rapid WSJF calculation, which we should be doing cadentially across our PI. Let me go back in the browser. Take me back. Oh, I think they're still working on their linking. All right. We also have a Kanban view as well, so we can see in a column Kanban view. This is not a great view actually for this, but actually let me go to I think it's state view. Yeah, there we go. So here's our epic Kanban flow. Started in progress. I think this is looking at epics, and actually I would use a different process step for epics, but the way this demo instance has been set up is this. We also have this column view, which will show us progress against different things. So I can see my estimated work, and then I can see my actual work rolled up here. So we can see that we have 82% of our PI is loaded up according to the story points that everything breaks down to, but our estimates, which we have not done a very good job of, are showing 0. So that's not very good. We obviously need to do a better job estimating our work here. Lastly, in this tool, I want to show you the admin section and just one part of it specifically. If we come down to platform terminology, this tool is designed to be very flexible. So all of the elements that we see in the UI, like dependency, for example, we can give it our own name, singular and plural, and description for our company. For epics, for example, maybe we call those initiatives if we want to. So yeah, lots of configurability around here. Oh, I just remembered one other thing that I wanted to show. Like if I come to the backlog and grab one of these epics, there's a lot of information that you can store against an epic, and all of these tabs can be turned on and off. One of my favorites though is the financial tab. So we can tag a budget with this epic. We can tag total capex, external capex, total opex. So we can do a lot of budgetary planning, and then we can get the reports in this tool about how we're executing against all of our work. So again, a lot of information. We can do value engineering here. Just depending on the way that your company works, we can adjust the epic intake forms. So a highly flexible tool for Agile at scale. All right, that is a very quick Whirlwind Jira Align demo. Let me come back to my presentation and find out what's next. Oh, so actually next is going to be an advanced roadmaps walkthrough and demo. I did want to take a moment just to talk about who we are as a company and why you might want to listen to this webinar in the first place. XBM is a platinum solution partner. That means that we provide services for and around Atlassian products, and specifically what we specialize in is training. So we do training programs like Jira Bootcamp. We also do end user training and administrative training for basically all of the Atlassian products out there. We also do consulting, so implementations, migrations, customizations, anything you can think of, process consulting, business transformational consulting. And then if it doesn't work within the products, we also have a sister company called Oasis Digital that does custom software development. So if you need an add-on, if you need custom scripting done for anything, we also do a lot of custom development around server to cloud migrations as well. So we also do custom development for any kind of business process. If you want to hook Jira up to anything else, we can do that for you. Thank you very much for patiently listening through that. I'm going to continue on with our presentation. All right, so advanced roadmaps, switching gears, switching tools. We're talking about a different tool now that I believe is mostly homespun by Atlassian. It's gone through a lot of different versions in the last few years. The current version really is the best. I know I sound like I'm Steve Jobs talking about that, but really it is so much more useful than the previous versions of advanced roadmaps. Unlike Jira Align, advanced roadmaps is not such a heavy tool. It lives sort of natively in Jira, although it technically sits a little bit above Jira, and it is used for delivering at scale, just not quite at the scale that you might need Jira Align to do. So I think this is actually a really good tool for just about every team and just about every company. Small companies use it, large companies use it. It's very helpful, and it's not an either or with Jira Align. You can use advanced roadmaps and Jira Align. So the positioning and value for this tool is if you're a growing Agile organization or even somewhat traditional that needs visibility, shared focus, and accurate delivery, this tool may be for you. If you're planning across multiple teams, if you need to keep stakeholders informed, if you need to align work to higher level initiatives or strategy, and if you need to communicate the bigger picture to teams, this is really what this tool is aimed at. Some of its key features, it'll provide a product level roadmap for you. It visualizes in a roadmap view all of the Jira data that you have. It also handles team level capacity planning. It will auto schedule issues also at the team level for you. And it also handles dependency management, not quite as robustly as Jira Align, but I think well enough for most teams. Things that are new and coming. So like I mentioned before, this is now built into Cloud Premium and Enterprise. It will be built into Data Center. Once they make a few more changes, that's on the data center roadmap. This will be bundled with it. Um, they are currently improving sprint management. If you're on the server data center version, you can do future sprint capacity adjustments. If you're on the cloud version, that's still coming. You can do capacity management at the team level. That is somewhat new, but it's been out for a bit. And there is a somewhat new Confluence macro that is a real game changer that allows you to have live roadmaps living in Confluence. We're going to show that off at the end too. That is a wonderful thing to help get people to not have to spend all of their time doing reporting. Speaking of reporting, we find that a lot of mid-level managers do spend way too much time reporting, and hopefully you're using the Atlassian tools to automate your reporting. Build it once and then just let it run from there with the automatic updating information. We find that combining Jira and Confluence is the best way to do that. If you need help building reporting, that is something that we do and really like doing as well, to help free up your time to add more value to your company. Nobody should be spending hours and hours and hours a week reporting. All right, so how long does it take to roll out advanced roadmaps? Well, not very long. The way that it works is it sits on top of Jira, it consumes Jira data, and there's not really any deep configuration. There is some training that's involved to use it appropriately, but maybe about a week on site, meeting with the right stakeholders, and a full rollout would maybe take 30 days. Of course, you can technically roll it out in an afternoon, but getting everybody to use it and to come back to it and to get the value from it takes just a little bit longer. Typically, we start by asking stakeholders. We actually start on the right of this view. We would ask, what are the decisions that you're trying to make for your company? What do you need to see to make those decisions? We then talk about what feeds those visualizations, and then what is the data underlying the feed. So once we know all that, we start from the left and we start working. We fix Jira's data. We then adjust the inroads to portfolio. We then advanced roadmaps, used to be portfolio. We then configure advanced roadmap views, and then we come back to the stakeholders and make sure that they're able to make decisions based on what they're seeing. It's actually a really fun process. A lot of whiteboarding, a lot of coffee, and I guess it's a little more virtual now than it was before. So let's hop into the tool and talk about what this tool can do for you. So I'm coming to a demo site now. This is a cloud demo site. Advanced Roadmaps works pretty much the same in cloud and server now. Let me just talk about what you're seeing here. You're actually seeing 3 different sections, although it doesn't look like it. This whole top half is the view control section. This bottom left, I guess 2/3, the way I have it set up, is the scope section. And then this bottom right corner is the roadmap section. And let's just talk about all the features. So what I'm seeing here is I've got a hierarchy that I can choose from. Advanced Roadmaps allows you to add a hierarchy above story and epic. So I have added an initiative layer and a theme layer with like named issue types. So I've got an initiative issue type and a theme issue type living up there. And those issue types and those issues live in Jira. They're just being displayed here in the roadmap. And so here I've got initiative 1 that breaks down into epics, and I've got initiative 2 that breaks down into epics, and some more initiatives down at the bottom. I should stop for a moment and say that I can choose and refine what data comes into this particular plan. So you want to build your plans around data sources in Jira. I've chosen to bring in my initiatives, epics, and teams for one release train or one team of teams. You can do a lot here. We can choose which layers of the hierarchy to see. If you want to see initiative down to story, I can add the story layer, and now I can expand all of my epics. But of course, for this view that I'm calling initiative planning, I don't really want to get down to the story layer. I don't need my stakeholders to see that. They don't need to get in the weeds. We can also do things like re-rank and reparent here. We then get into our fields. So Advanced Roadmaps adds target start, target end, which allows you to show things over here on a roadmap according to that target start, target end. And if I adjust that, I can kick it out a little bit further. You can see it moves out a little bit further here. We then have status coming out of Jira, and then a progress bar. This progress shows progress of direct children. So I've got an epic that's done. I'm sorry, 2 epics that are done, 2 that are in progress, 1 that is to do. And actually, what's nice about this tool is that it rolls up status categories so that your teams can have multiple statuses across a workflow. But really, all that matters to your executives is, did it start yet? Is it in progress? Is it done? I can also add in custom fields. So we like adding things like product and MVP to help signal to our stakeholders what's going on and why something may or may not be being worked on first. This is also helpful. You could do capitalization tagging in here if you wanted as well. I'm going to collapse all of those fields though. Oh, really quick. There's also great filtering here too. If I want to filter on my dependencies, so only show me things that have dependencies, great, I can do that. I can filter on certain statuses, certain products, lots of visualization customization here. I'm going to collapse that and focus over here on the roadmap view. So here I can choose different scopes of view. And my favorite is custom. Let's go 3 months back, 12 months forward. And then I'm seeing some different types of bars over here. This bar has no target start, target end itself. It's actually getting target start, target end from its children, which is nice. So if you know that, or I should say, if you don't know when it'll start and when it'll end, but your teams are planning things out, you can just let this expand and contract according to the teams living underneath it. This one, on the other hand, we know it's going to end on April 15th. We're not quite sure when it's going to start. So it's got this faded roll-up view here. And then, yeah, let's see. And if I go forward, we can see here too that I've got ones that have no definitive end here. My view settings allow me to do a number of things. I can color by different things. One of my favorites is color by label. So here I'm actually using the labels field. If I expand it here, and let me collapse some of these other fields for you. So I've got a green label and a yellow label. I can also do a multicolor label as well. So I can do yellow and red. That doesn't make any sense if we're doing red, yellow, green, but it would make sense if I'm coloring by a component or something else, for example. So here I can start to add my own interpretation about this roadmap as I present it to people and say, why is this one green? Why is this one yellow? I can also choose in my view settings to roll up dates or not, or to roll up other information such as product or release or not. I can also hide warnings. We see a lot of warnings appearing over here. And if I'm presenting this to my stakeholders, maybe I want to hide the warnings. All of this information, the fields, which things I have expanded, and the way that I'm choosing to view them over here in the roadmap is all configurable into saved views. So I can save a different view per stakeholder if I want to, or I guess stakeholder group. Let me hop down into my epic planning view, where I'm looking at epic down to story now. This would be used by product owners, for example. So I can plan out multiple epics in this view. And what I see here is I've got these red handles that are telling me that I have a dependency problem. And I can also further investigate this by clicking on a handle, and it says that this one's blocked by another issue. There's a lead time of almost a month that is backwards. I can filter down to those issues, and I can see that it is these 2 issues. And if I want to resolve that, all I have to do is just resequence this work, and now my dependency handles solve themselves. I'm going to put that back though. There's also a dependency report up here that I can see as well that will show me my critical path. And I can see here that I've got this one blocked by 28 days now. The rest of this path is okay. I can also choose to group these by team. So I can see here that I've got an external team dependency before this team starts its work. So this is very helpful for sequencing and planning work. I can also roll up things into things like epics. So I can see, let me clear my team. I can now see that my epics have different blockers by proxy of their children having blockers. Back to the roadmap. I'm going to hop down into actually, also while I'm here, I'm going to clear my filter. We can also pull releases onto this timeline as well. You can use these as milestones or as actual releases pulled out of Jira. I can highlight it on the timeline, and then I can see that I have a problem with this release, which means that I have work planned after the release date is supposed to happen. So I can actually come in here and I can find everything that is in release 6. So I can filter by my release. Actually, I think I can click on it here and filter by that instead. And then I can find out immediately, oh, a lot of this work is actually planned past this release. And if I pull all of this work back, once it's all back behind my release, well, will turn green. So now I know that everything's okay. Going down a layer down to capacity planning, I have now grouped my view by team. So now I'm down at the story level, and I can see here that I can move things from sprint to sprint. And if I give this an estimate, like let's say this is going to take 50 hours of work, not 500, you can see that this, what do you call it, capacity meter is filling up. So this one is now 30% full. If I move it back a sprint into sprint 2, this capacity meter goes up even higher. And if my estimates are too large, we can see that it goes red. And I can then see that across multiple teams. Here I have a team working in sprints, and down here I have a team working in Kanban fashion. So this team's iterations are going week to week instead of sprint to sprint. It'll even project sprints into the future for me. And pretty soon in the cloud version, you'll be able to click onto future sprints and or future iterations and adjust the future capacity. So that's a lot. Just a few more things to talk about here. There's a sandbox feature to this. So all of the changes that I've been making, let me come back to a different view and to the fields. All the changes I'm making are showing up here in these little green tags, and those are getting saved until I choose to push them all back to Jira. So all my plans right now that I've made with my fellow managers, they're just living in this plan until I choose to push them back to the source of truth of Jira. I can also flip between scenarios. So I've made a best case scenario and a worst case scenario. I could make a third, fourth, or eighth scenario if I wanted to. And my worst case scenario here, as I change values in it, all of its changes are going to get flagged as red. And then I can choose which scenarios changes to push back to Jira. Also, if I'm down at the team level, there is an auto scheduler. I would not recommend this for the for a program layer, but for teams that are constantly rearranging work to fit new requirements, new dependencies and stuff, there's this auto schedule feature that if you run it, it will take things like rank, number of people on a team, assignee, all this information, and it will then make suggestions in purple about how to appropriately schedule your work, also based on releases and things like that. Lastly, and my favorite part, we have share and export. If you export a spreadsheet as CSV, it'll give you all of this progress data, as well as where's my progress data? That's up here at initiative planning. It'll give you all of the progress information. It will also give you roll-up data as well as hard data in your CSV, so you can do lots of complex reporting in your BI spreadsheet tool of choice. You can also use something like Power Query with Excel, or we can connect this to Tableau to also get constant further reporting based on the information within this portfolio plan. Lastly is the share function. I can share a link, and that creates a read-only view that I can point my stakeholders to now. And they can manipulate this if they want to, but they can't make any changes of the data. They can just change how they're viewing it. So that's quite helpful. And as you can see, they can't change saved view. This is the saved view that I'm sharing. So you can make a roadmap for one set of stakeholders, share this link, or what I really prefer is using a Confluence link, generating a Confluence macro. And then let me just hop over into Confluence and show you what that looks like. Oops, I don't want that. I want my engagement management. Let's come to my engagement dashboard. So here I've got just a status report that I built. And down here, I've got an advanced roadmap embedded here within Confluence, and I can add all of the contextual information that I want to right here into the page. And then I can start pointing all of my stakeholders to this page, which is now evergreen. And now I don't have to spend any time building reports anymore. I just have to update my data in Jira. Whew, all right, that's a lot of information. That is the end of my product demos. Before I go to Q&A, I just wanted to mention that we have a lot of upcoming webinars and classes. Let me just click this on the present view. Today is Introduction to Portfolio Management. We also have a Confluence Bootcamp that's happening today. We do intros to Jira Align. We do governance. We do Atlassian for business teams. Confluence intros, Jira Bootcamp, which is a 3-day intensive admin course. And then of course, we also have all of the custom consulting and custom training courses if you want. So please feel free to email me at brian.dar@xpm.com. I'm more than happy to answer any questions privately. But for now, let me hop over to our shared document and let me find out what kind of questions you guys have. What are your thoughts on Smartsheets for portfolio management and using their integration with Jira? Note the app is not DC approved by Atlassian, but Smartsheets swears it works. Haven't found anything that's using it though. So looking at server apps used on data center, they will work. And actually, I don't want to say most. If you're running data center in a single node configuration, you're probably not going to run into any problems. A lot of app vendors are scrambling to get their apps upgraded and more robust, thanks to Atlassian's large announcement a couple of quarters ago about moving to cloud. If you're using a multi-node data center, Smartsheets may encounter problems. It just depends on how they built it. We do have customers that are successfully using it with server. I don't know of any customers right now that are using it on data center, but if you send me an email, I can spend extra time talking around our company and finding out if anybody has that experience, and I can share that experience with you. The next question is, how can I generate a template of a portfolio view to send to my 700 team projects? Ooh, that is a lot. So there are no templates in advanced roadmaps right now. You can do template projects, which I'm sure you're using if you have 700 team projects. So not having, I think the problem with the template on these roadmaps is that I think it's better to train them on like what they need to be looking for in this plan. That being said, there's not a lot of configuration that goes into making a plan, and you can't copy a plan yet either, which is really frustrating. So there's no in the box solution for making that working right now, unfortunately. That being said, you could just write up a kind of a script for making a plan in Confluence, just a quick step-by-step guide. We've done that for clients before. Click here, add sources, add your team boards, add a filter to bring in your initiatives, and then go from there. I would love to talk to you more about that giant Jira, though. That sounds interesting to wrangle. Another question, can you please demo how you would track capacity planning by individual team member by sprint? There is no individual capacity planning in advanced roadmaps currently. We talk somewhat frequently with the developers and product owners of advanced roadmaps. That is a feature that they are considering. They're also another feature being considered that I'm kind of excited about is to see them bring back story points to hours conversions to help me show Kanban teams and Scrum teams on the same plan at once in a better fashion. But there is no individual capacity right now. It's just team capacity. If you want me to demonstrate that again, though, just shoot another question and I will demo that again. Is it possible to subtract issue estimation from an epic on a portfolio? I have issues in my epic. All issues have estimations in Jira, but when I start, target, and the epic in portfolio, it sums up all the times. Yes, we find that most people use another field to track their epic, I guess, original estimate, you would say, maybe a t-shirt size field instead. They surface that in the portfolio view, and then they leave the actual estimation field, story points or whatever, blank, and then they rely on the summing up of the issues in the rollup function, and then look at that next to this separate field that is not managing things within portfolio. I hope that makes sense. If not, ask another question and I'll try to talk about that more. How is it possible to measure project efficiency in Jira? It's a very interesting question. I would be interested to know more about what you mean by efficiency, what the metric is that you're using for that. If you can send me an email, I would be. This is Himanshu Joshi. I would be happy to talk about that more with you. But I'm not quite sure what you're referring to. So if we can dive into that more, that'd be great. Can we link each initiative with a KPI so we can have the benefits realized to tracking? You can in, well, not necessarily KPIs, but to objectives. If you're using Jira Align, you can link initiatives to effectively objectives. If you're using Jira, you could track your objectives and KPIs as issues, and then you could use Jira issue linking. You know, this initiative relates to this KPI if you want to, but then you'd have to build a separate BI tool, which we have done actually, around tracking that. The BI tool would basically pull in the objective and then say, you know, show me everything over here, and then show me the progress completed against those things, and then show a report back over here. Jira Align does that natively. Portfolio, or I'm sorry, Advanced Roadmaps does not. We may have hit the end of the questions. I'm going to stick around for a minute longer in case anybody has any more questions. But if not, thank you all very much for your kind attention. Please feel free to email. I'm more than happy to answer more questions later on. Oh, I see another question, but I'll go ahead and close this for now, and I'll answer the question next. But thank you very much for coming. I hope you guys have a great day, and hope to see you again. Thank you again. All right, last question, or last couple. Is it possible to subtract issue estimation? Oh, let's see. I have issues in when I add target start. Oh, let's see. Oops. Wait, I'm now confused by our questions. Does Jira Align offer any type of specific resource, skills, or capacity management? Yes. My team is composed of 2 developers, 2 QA testers. Can I use Jira Align when I might need to track a more specific skill set? I'm pretty sure I have not used the team layer in Jira Align very much. I believe that down at that layer, there is a way to mark different roles for, oh my gosh, that's Damien. I know Damien. Hi. I'm going to have to ask my coworker about that, actually. Nice to see you. My team is composed of 2 developers, 2 QA testers. I know that you can tag developers and testers in the team layer. However, most people reserve the team functions for what do you call it? To stay in Jira, so it's not quite as helpful there. But oh my gosh, yeah, send me an email. I'll get Elizabeth on that for you. Project efficiency is standard hours set for tasks divided by actual hours for the task. Oh yeah, okay. Himanshu's question about project efficiency, that one, Jira doesn't do math by itself particularly well. There are some add-ons that will help you do math in Jira. We have built dashboard gadgets that will take a query and run math against them. There are also some other add-ons that will do that, but you'd have to do it with an add-on. But it would be possible. Oh man, I gotta figure out what all these colors mean now. Oh, green means answered. Okay. Okay, I think that's it. All right. Well, thank you all very much again for your time. Hope to see you out there, and have a great day. Talk to you all later.